Get ready to meet the elite. Ashford Radio is on the air. Welcome to Ashford Radio, brought to you by Ashford Social Media, an exclusive membership site for today's industry leaders and tomorrow's superstars. Ashford Radio brings you experience, wisdom, and informed opinion from some of today's most influential executives and professionals. Join us on air to hear from AshfordRadio.com's most exclusive members as we learn about their interesting lives and professional passions. It's never been easier to learn from truly exceptional people than it is from the people that you hear on AshfordRadio.com.
I'm Tina Reynolds, and today we are pleased to have as our guest a member of AshfordSocialMedia.com who lives an interesting life as the president of Secure Threads out of Chicago, Illinois. It's my pleasure to welcome to the show Jennetta MATTIck. Jeannie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Tina. Thank you for having me.
Now, Jeannie, to start off, let's talk about Secure Threads and what it is and how you got started.
Well, Secure Threads is a web-based company that I founded just this past April 2012. And we have a patent-pending personalized designer hospital gown. And we believe that our gowns can revolutionize the hospital experience for everyone. For the discerning individual, owning their own hospital gown means they can be stylish and distinguished looking while enduring the hospital experience.
Now, as far as the gowns are concerned, these are something that are provided typically by the hospitals, so you can wear these gowns?
These gowns are personal gowns that the individual would purchase for themselves, and then they would take it to the hospital or doctor's office when they go.
All right, so it's something that they can wear. They can choose to have that, and the hospital allows this, obviously.
Yes, they do. These are not gowns that you would wear into the operating room because obviously those should be sterile drapings that are in the operating room. But when you're in your own hospital room recovering, these are the gowns you would want to wear.
Now, what inspired you to start Secure Threads?
Well, I don't think any one thing triggers an idea. Ideas are really a result of our environment and our experiences. And my husband died because of hospital error, and I'm a cancer survivor, so I have had a lot of experience with hospital gowns. The idea for Secure Threads came about after I had one too many visits to a doctor's office when I was asked to put on a paper hospital gown. And while sitting in the doctor's office freezing and feeling humiliated, I wondered why someone didn't make a cozy, fashionable, and dignified hospital gown. When I was going home, I decided that someone would be me. Standard institutional hospital gowns haven't changed in 50 years.
Wow, that is a long, long time. Who makes the gowns typically?
Our Secure Thread gowns are manufactured in Mexico.
All right. And what about the hospitals, the ones that they provide? Where are those typically from? I mean, who makes them?
Oh, I think those are made all over. People get them from India. They get them, they're outsourced typically, but they're all the same style.
Right.
You remember the scene in the movie, Something's Gotta Give, when Jack Nicholson was walking down the hall of the hospital and his rear end was exposed?
Yes.
Everyone laughed because everybody's seen that happen in real life. And it was so interesting. Last year I read James Patterson's book about the Christmas wedding, and in that book he also talks about how pathetic the hospital gowns are, and he mentions that they make people even more depressed and depersonalized than they have to be when they're sick. So we think our gowns are going to help address that issue for the patients.
Now, I know you said this is web-based. how did you get started? You had this idea, and I love that you mentioned that, ideas come from our experiences and multiple experiences that we've had, not just one. So tell us a little bit more what kind of steps you took to get Secure Threads ongoing.
This is funny because my background is really in education, so I did not have any background in fashion designing or sewing. The first thing I did was I bought a serger sewing machine and learned how to sew, and then I bought an embroidery machine and learned how to embroidery, and then I just started making different patterns and experimenting with what worked and what didn't work, and finally came up with the design. That was about a year-long process.
So it was a matter of just learning how to sew. So you actually took the craft into your own hands. It wasn't just something that you wanted to create. You got involved in the actual process of making the gowns.
Oh, all the way up until the final design and patent pending design.
All right. Now, these gowns that you speak of, how many people are working on them, or is this a solo thing for you?
It's a solo thing for me here in Chicago. Down at the plant in Mexico, they have, I imagine, 3 or 4 people working on them.
All right. Now, how did you get in contact with the Mexico plant?
I started doing research on the web, and I found a company called North American Offshore Solutions. And the biggest obstacle in producing the gown was that we have personalized medical information embroidered on 4 pockets on the outside of the gown. And I could not find a manufacturer in the United States that was able to individually personalize and embroidery that information on the 4 pockets. They could take a standard logo or information and do that on all the gowns. But when a person places their order for these gowns, they literally put their own personal information, and then we take the order from there.
All right. Now, you said that there was difficulty that people wouldn't embroider it in all 4 spots?
Well, they couldn't do the personalized embroidering, where in Mexico they have an individual who literally sits there and personalizes each gown.
So amazing. So you were actually, what you were seeking out, you did find. And was this a process for you? Did it take a long time to find them?
In working with them, once I contacted them, it took us about 5 months to get the process down pat, where they could go to the web and take the order and then process the order and then take the order across the border to get it shipped from Arizona.
All right, so people can actually purchase these gowns on your website.
Absolutely. In fact, right now, that's the only way that an individual can purchase the gown, because they are responsible for the medical information that they're asking us to put on the gown.
All right. Now, how does that work? And I was kind of hinting at that earlier. As far as the hospitals, they let you wear these gowns. Was there any restrictions with this?
None whatsoever that we found. In fact, I have worn the gowns to my personal doctor's office, and they went crazy over the gowns. And when I went in for my mammogram this year, I wore the gown. Everybody in that department went crazy over the gown. But if you think about a hospital room, when the hospital room is not sterile, there's nothing about the room that prevents you from bringing your own garment in, because you wear your own clothes in. When visitors come, they wear their own clothes. So in the hospital bed, you can wear this gown. The purpose of a hospital gown is for the medical staff to be able to access your body parts easily. And this gown covers that just like a hospital gown does.
All right, so the process you had to go through was just making sure that it was styled like the gown, where they could, access any body part.
Exactly.
All right. Now, Jeannie, you said that you had started in April. Congratulations on that. What kind of progress have you made so far?
Well, So far, I've been to 3 national conventions. I went to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons convention, and that was most interesting. In fact, the chief of staff from Abu Dhabi hospital was really interested in the gowns and asked if I would come to Abu Dhabi to present the gowns to the medical people there. I just returned from the American Hospital Association convention, and the response was overwhelming from the people at that convention. And so I'm in the process of contacting them to see how we can get the information in the hospital so that the patients know the gown is available.
Jeannie, this is amazing. Congratulations. It sounds like you're really going forward with this idea, and it's a lovely idea. And I could not imagine what it would be like to be in a hospital and, it's cold. That's all that I think about is just sitting there and being cold and having to wear a thin gown. I could imagine, like you said, it's almost depressing for the people who are in there.
Well, it is, and hospitals do keep their temperatures cool, and of course when you're sick, you're cold. And we made our gowns out of 100% cotton flannel. So they're cozy and they're warm and they're comfortable.
Who have you presented the gowns to so far?
Just the medical conventions so far. I've one more convention coming up in October. And then we are advertising, of course, in Senior Scene magazine, Today's Senior magazine, the Golden Years magazine, and the Golf Almanac in Newport Beach, because we're trying to target people 50 or older who have had experience with hospital gowns and who would like to improve their situation when they're in the hospital.
All right. Now, you said that you started on a web base. Now, when you started your own business selling garments, was there any kind of obstacles as far as paperwork? And I know that you said you have a patent pending. Is there anything else that you really had to do as far as getting your business up and running?
Well, the patent pending thing, of course, is a process, and that takes a considerable amount of time. We also trademarked the Secure Threads logo and trademark because we use that on our labeling. And it's really paperwork. It's not that difficult. It's just time-consuming and tedious.
All right. Now, how did you decide on the name Secure Threads?
Well, I hired a firm in Chicago, and they are people that help you develop an identity. And we looked at I brought a hospital gown into them, and they looked at what it was, and I explained the concept and everything, and then they go through their process of brainstorming, and this was one of the things they came up with, because in my hospital gowns, you are secure. You can move around in those gowns. You can walk down the halls in the hospital. They will not flap open, and so that's how we came up with that name.
All right. Now, what were you doing before you had this idea as far as career-wise?
Well, I was assistant superintendent of schools out in a suburb of Chicago, and I had retired from that. And then, of course, my husband died shortly after that. So after he died, I just sort of traveled the world and got that out of my system. And then I thought to myself, this isn't working. I really want to do something that's useful for society and for people. Just playing all the time doesn't quite fit the bill. And so, as I mentioned, these hospital gown experiences, I thought, well, this needs to be tackled. I mean, somebody needs to do something. And so that's what I did.
All right. Now, Jeannie, we're coming to a commercial break. Let's take a quick break. Listeners, stay tuned. We're going to speak more about Secure Threads and actually get into details about the gowns and what they provide. I'm Tina Reynolds. My guest today is Jennetta MATTICK. You're listening to Ashford Radio, and we'll be right back after these messages.
When former Naval Intelligence Officer Jack Steele accepts a safe deposit key from the hands of dying FBI Special Agent Kathy Stevens, He had no idea it would lead him to discover a 40-year-old secret and conspiracy. Alone and bitter, he's consumed with the desire to avenge his mother's assassination and his father's tragic death. Jack finds himself outgunned and outmatched, trying to escape dangerous and devious enemies in this bone-chilling thriller, The Surface Beneath. Let The Surface Beneath pull you into the underworld of espionage and psychological suspense. Purchase this action-packed novel now at Amazon.com.
My name is Sue Smith. I'm 38 and I work at a graphic design company. And the teenage me would tell you
I wouldn't be into drawing and art if it wasn't for Big Brothers Big Sisters. My big sister showed me early on that I could do anything. And to the young me,
that meant a lot. My big sister's name is Sheila, and Sheila is the reason that this 8-year-old grows up to have an amazing job as a graphic designer.
Whether you donate money or time, you're helping Big Brothers Big Sisters help a child. Start something today at BigBrothersBigSisters.org. Brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters and the Ad Council.
And this year's Top Business Professional Executive Award goes to Paul Peterson.
Thank you. First, allow me to thank a man who gave me the most important piece of advice in my professional career. The man who told me, it's all in who you know. Second, I'd like to thank Ashford Social Media for connecting me with so many of you leaders and business professionals. I'd like to thank Ashford Social Media for their features, like video profiles, for press releases, and for Ashford Publishing Radio.
It's all in who you know. Go to AshfordSocialMedia.com today to become a member. Connect with all of our elite members like Paul Peterson.
AshfordSocialMedia.com allows me to network with executives and professionals.
Go to AshfordSocialMedia.com and see what it means to be a member. Join today and you can get your first month free. Go to AshfordSocialMedia.com today and remember, it's all in who you know.
And we are back. This is Ashford Radio. I'm Tina Reynolds. My guest today is Jennetta MATTICK. She is the president of Secure Threads, based out of Chicago, Illinois. Listeners, you can check out the website. It's SecureThreads.com. Jeannie, before the break, you were telling us how you got started with Secure Threads. We started to speak a little bit about the gowns. Now, what are these gowns made out of as far as material?
Our gowns are made out of 100% cotton flannel. And the unique thing, of course, on our gowns is the medical information to help prevent medical error. Now, our gowns are different because they open in the front, on top of both sleeves, and in the back. And all of these openings are secured with Velcro. And the back is overlapped completely. Both sides of the gown, and then, of course, the Velcro closes them so that when you're walking and moving, that no body parts are exposed.
All right.
Now,
go ahead.
The pockets on the gown is what makes them so special. The upper left pocket is a false pocket, and that pocket would have embroidered the list of your allergies. Behind that upper left pocket is a slit that opens so that medical cords can be attached to your heart if they need to be. And then the pocket of the gown covers the cords so that if you have visitors and that, you just look a lot better. The upper right pocket lists the patient's name, their blood type, and their date of birth. This is all embroidered on the pocket. That pocket has a closed slit in back which can be opened if needed. For example, if you had surgery and you needed drainage tubes and bulbs, those could be inserted in that pocket so that, again, the people coming to visit you don't see those and you just look better. The lower right pocket lists your medical conditions, which are embroidered. There's a slit behind that pocket, which can be opened. And the lower left pocket has, in case of emergency, call, and then the name and phone number of who you want called. Again, that pocket has a slit behind, which can be open. Now, this information is also in the patient's chart, but I can assure you, not all medical people always read the charts carefully. These gowns, then, are just a double check for the medical personnel. Now, the other really nice thing is that every pocket has a privacy flap that you pull out and pull over to cover the medical information. So if you're walking down the hall to get your exercise and you don't want people to see all of your medical information, it's easy to cover it and then just put the flap back in the pocket when you're in your hospital bed.
So interesting. What inspired that thought?
Well, just the whole issue of the privacy on the flaps for the pocket is because some people, if you have HIV or something, you don't want people seeing, that that's your issue. The information on the gowns is simply a way to help prevent medical error. Do you know that on June 10th, CNN had put out a report about 10 shocking medical mistakes, and the first mistake they listed was treating the wrong patient?
That is, it's a very scary thought.
I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe that, and I thought, and I remembered from all my hospital experiences, they always come in and ask you your name, your date of birth, etc. But sometimes a patient is in the hospital, they're so drugged up, or they're in pain, or they're confused, or medicated, they can't always answer.
And, it's one of those things, it's, just to make a mistake like that, you can't. I mean, to do something on the wrong person. I have a friend who's a nurse, and she was getting a position, and she said that it was because the girl before her got fired because of that exact thing. She worked on the wrong patient.
I know. It happens, and it's important to realize that medical personnel are not out to harm anyone. Medical people are really caring people who want to help, but mistakes happen for various reasons. They should read charts carefully, but they don't always. And it's my personal belief, this is just a personal belief, that I don't think medical staff should work 12-hour shifts. I can't change procedures in a hospital, but I can think out of the box and do everything I can to help the medical personnel keep from making a mistake on me.
Definitely. And you said it, when you are in pain or, you're on drugs or something, and being a patient, you are not going to be able to double check. I mean, you have to be aware of yourself in life in general, but in that condition, it's not something that you're going to do. You're not going to sit up and say your name and your blood type and, so this
right.
is an outwardly expression.
Yes. And I, the biggest hurdle that we are going to face in marketing this gown is to get the general public to realize that they need to be part of the medical team. They need to be part of the process. I think in olden days, people went to the hospital and they just sort of said, well, here I am, and I trust you to do everything you can to make me better. The baby boomers that are starting to retire, they aren't going to put up with the kind of things that we put up with in the past. They are typically more demanding. They're more concerned. They want to participate in their healing process, and these gowns would help them do that.
It's funny you said that. I speak with a lot of people in different areas, and they always bring up this generation is just different. They want to be more involved, and they're more demanding. So it sounds like you definitely found a service for them.
I hope so. I equate this hospital gown to what I call my umbrella theory. When I have an umbrella with me, it seems like it never rains. When I don't have the umbrella, it's sure to rain. And with the hospital gown, I encourage my sister, as a matter of fact, just went to the hospital Sunday with chest pains. She's never had a hospital experience, so she doesn't have a hospital tote bag like I do. Of course, in my tote bag, I keep my hospital gown. I keep a pair of slippers. I keep a set of underwear. I keep body lotions that I like. I keep my own toothbrush and toothpaste. And I have it ready so that if I ever have an emergency and have to go to the hospital, I can just grab that tote bag. It's sort of like expectant mothers who have their bags ready. And speaking of that, it reminds me, when I was at the American Hospital Association convention, everyone there was commenting that those gowns would be perfect for expecting mothers who end up nursing in the hospital.
Yes, and and Did you have that in mind when you created this idea? Because
no.
Unfortunately, some people are in the hospital for a long time, or they know that they're going to be there. So this is for people who may know that they're going to be there, but also, it's for other people as well.
Oh, yeah. I think anybody over age 50 knows that they're going to end up in a doctor's office or a hospital, even if it's for routine, your routine health checks every year. And this is something they would take with them to the doctor's office in the hospital. And these make perfect gifts when you never know what to buy Grandma or your aunt and uncle or people that just seem to have everything. This is such a unique gift, you can be assured that they don't have it.
Definitely. And, it's something that, it provides you with comfort. I mean, everybody likes to be comfortable. And the last place you want to be, and like you said earlier, is uncomfortable in your clothes in a hospital.
Yes, and I'm the kind of person that maybe I'm a little vain, but I always like to look nice.
Right.
And I think that when you look nice, you have a better mental attitude, and I think that all plays a part in the healing process when you're recovering.
And, it's psychological. You said it. When you are
right.
dressed up and you feel good about yourself, it changes your mental attitude. And, a lot of people are speaking about that now, how your thoughts, and people are more open to the idea that your thoughts are really creating the reality that you have. And so, I mean, right there, you made it something that, goes along with that idea.
Oh, and my thoughts certainly did create this reality. It's kept me busy. I've been so excited about it. I have not really found one person who thought the gown was a bad idea or didn't like it.
Now, speaking more about the gowns, what are the sizes that you have?
Oh, we start with small, and we go all the way to extra, extra, extra large. And the gowns are unisex, so they're for men and women. And we have 9 different colors to choose from. So whatever your favorite color is that makes you feel good, it should be available for you.
Can you tell us what the colors are?
Offhand. Okay, I've got yellow, I've got light blue, I have an aqua, lavender, red, brown. I can't remember offhand what the rest are.
So, and it sounds like this would really help the hospital and the nurses as well. You stand out, and again, your information's provided. This is such a good idea, Jeannie, definitely.
Well, what we're working on now with the hospitals is when you're going to have surgery, you have to go in a month ahead of time for your EKG and blood tests and the pre-op testing. We are trying to convince hospitals to give this information to the people when they come for their pre-op testing, because then that gives them time to go home and get the gown ordered before their surgery is actually taking place.
All right. Now, Jeannie, we are coming to the end of the program. Unfortunately, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. This was such a great idea, and it sounds like you just came at it from every different angle. So good luck and congratulations, and thank you so much for the show today.
Well, thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
All right. And listeners, also thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to check out the website. It's securethreads.com. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. You've been listening to Ashford Radio with my special guest, Jennetta MATTICK. Ashford Radio can be found online at ashfordradio.com. The archive of this and other Ashford Radio shows are available there and are also available on iTunes. Look for them as well on the exclusive membership site, ashfordsocialmedia.com. This is Tina Reynolds thanking everyone for joining us today and wishing you all the best.